Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It's November 9th today, friends. Good luck if y'all are out in the woods. We're hoping that the rut is heating up down here in the big woods because it's been slow all week. Temperatures in the 80s. But we did see some deer driving the roads last night. Saw a real big buck right off the road in a place we can't hunt on private land that doesn't allow hunting. So it's no surprise he was out there, but movement has been pretty sparse this week. Hoping that changes today though. We've spent the last 2 days basically scouting all day each day. We have found what we think is a pretty good spot. We scouted this river bottom yesterday and the day before. We found a huge rub in there with a fresh scrape, several other rubs, and then scouted the backside of the same river bottom, found all kinds of tracks, scrapes everywhere. We've been saying kind of the same thing for the last few weeks here, is these deer are not up here in the oak flats in the hardwoods. They're down in those bottoms right now, which makes them really tricky to hunt in these steep hills because the wind is so dicey down there. But this morning we should have a good wind coming right down the pipe. I'm hoping it doesn't swirl too bad, but it's 4:30 right now. We need to get our gear on and head in there and pick a tree in the dark and set up. Worth a darn. I mean, it's blowing right there. Couple deep breaths, Warb. Don't buy GoPros. They suck. They're not reliable at all. They have good video though, but they literally freak out and won't turn on, so you have to reset them like every hour during the day. So instead of deer hunting, we have to do things like this. Take it out of its case, take the battery out, put it back in the cage, reset it, make sure it's working right. And you look down and there's a big buck standing there and he blows because he sees you up here screwing with a crappy camera. So yeah, there's that. We got a freaking army of turkeys over here on this ridge across this bottom from us. Golly, there's a pile of them. They're set up right at the base of this big bluff. It's not ideal. The thermals are coming off that bluff, trying to push out in this bottom. So we just had to hike deeper into the bottom until we found a spot that kind of worked. There is a pile of fresh tracks right down there in front of us and a big scrape about 20 yards away. It's been kind of a mess of a morning so far. But me and Hayden are planning to be in here all day. We know they're in these bottoms. So we've just got to move around in them until we find a setup that works. There's multiple bucks in here for sure. I just saw him cutting from right to left. Okay. Right at the head of that wash. Should come out right over here off my finger. It's definitely a buck. It's like 9:30 right now. We've seen one buck, a doe, and a fawn. I don't think we got any footage of them just because we saw him in a flash. Like, I looked up and I saw that buck. He was about 100 yards away, cruising through the bottom. And I saw him for a split second. And then he vanished into the brush and never saw him after that. What we're going to do is climb down and we're going to just move through this bottom, going 200, 300 yards at a time, and then probably pop up in a tree and set up for an hour or two. And we've been sitting here for about 3 hours and all my snacks are at the bottom of the tree, so that's the real reason. Slipped up here where I saw that buck come through earlier. and it's torched with sign. There's 5-6 rubs right here around me and Hayden. 3 or 4 trails come together. And then we can look down in the woods over here in this thick stuff, and there's a huge rub on a tree. It's one of the bigger piles of poop I've ever seen. As soon as we got down, we're moving minimum 300 yards. Then we're gonna set up. We've went 100 yards, and there's deer sign everywhere. So we're gonna sit right here. Yeah, kind of hard to walk past this. No, they don't see us. Stir some deer up as they keep pushing down the river bottom here. We're gonna wait here a little bit longer though. I'm assuming that they haven't been zigging and zagging through this bottom, or they wouldn't have been walking along that edge. Yeah. Hey Carl, looks like a track right here, Carl. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they've been moving through here a good bit, seemed like. It was back in '86, and me and Herb, we were over here on this cliff. Watching this bottom, and I'll be darned if we didn't see a black bear 10 pointer right behind him, goring that black bear with his antlers. That was back when I was bumming around in what is now called Utah. No idea we were up here. I was gonna whistle at them or anything, but I was like, well, they're going right back out the way they come in. They might as well not even know that we're up here. I thought they were gonna walk right under us, and at the last minute there, when they were about 25 yards, they turned and walked all the way around us and never saw me and Hayden up in this tree. It makes you feel good about your hide. Oh yeah, we're hidden real good. But I don't think we're gonna keep hunting here. No. I think we're gonna move for the evening. So that's a good call. I'm gonna go ahead and climb down here in a minute. Yep, deer. 1, 2. Fighting this wind down here all day long. We just have to try. There's enough sign right here, trails that come together. We might get lucky and have one come in, because our wind it's pushing like this and then it's sucking back. So like on either side of us here, it's not blowing. Our wind isn't going there, but if we get closer to the creek, then it's coming off the creek and blowing right back into it. It's just not good. Very challenging to hunt these bottoms, especially ones like this with big ridges around. Alright, it's 3 o'clock. We're set up for the evening. Been a rodeo in this bottom today, trying to deal with this wind, or lack thereof. I think we've probably seen over 10 deer, but we might not have any of them on video. No, probably not, because they're
I saw either this morning when I saw him, it was just a fleeting glimpse in the distance. Not enough time for Hayden to get the camera on him, and then throughout the middle of the day after we saw those two old boys walk by us, we've ran into, I don't know, 7 or 8 more deer in this bottom. Unfortunately, we ran into them all, and they spooked. Here's some. Oh yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Minutes before the end of legal. Just hard on these overcast days to get the last 10 minutes out. Ended up seeing a pile of turkeys, 2 bucks, and then a wad of does and fawns. Nothing close though. I feel like it could have worked tonight if one would have come in here. It's just accessing this was so dang difficult when it was this calm. I mean, we could hear them deer walking around at 250 yards in that bottom. They could easily hear us walking up through it from that far all day. Eventful day though, a field. But nothing to show for it. I might have shot that last buck there. He's a young buck, but I think he was a legal buck. You say he might have had 4 on one side.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if you find her, but it seemed like he was like tall and narrow.
Yeah. Definitely looked like he had 4 on one side. Anyway, we're gonna climb down and go get some chicken. So, see you guys.